Good morning, students. Today we are going to continue the remaining portion of the biogeochemical cycle. We're starting today our section with the sedimentary cycle. First point, what is the reservoir in the case of sedimentary cycle? In the case of sedimentary cycle, the reservoir is always lithosphere. Lithosphere is the reservoir in the case of sedimentary cycles. Then in sedimentary cycles, what process lead to the release of nutrients? Through which process nutrients are released from the reservoir? Main process is by withering. Withering, we know that it's a gradual process mediated by certain environmental forces from huge rock, for example, from huge rocks by gradual process of mechanical, physical, and chemical methods. Small amount of sand or soil is forming. This is withering. We all know that. Then example for the sedimentary cycles are sulfur cycle is there and phosphor cycle. Then first we are going to see the sulfur cycle. In the case of sulfur cycle, even if it is a sedimentary cycle, it has a gaseous phase also. The sulfur cycle have both gaseous phase and also a sedimentary phase. Let's go and see that. First, the main reservoir is a soil is a main reservoir of sulfur cycle. Then inorganic deposits like pyrite rocks, similar to that organic deposits like coal, oil, peat, all these stands as the reservoir for sulfur. And from these reservoir, the process like withering, erosion, and decomposition release this sulfur and it reach both the terrestrial and aquatic medium. In that process, it reach both terrestrial and aquatic medium. From this terrestrial, and also another source for sulfur is there, that is by fossil fuel combustion also sulfur is released to the atmosphere, and also through volcanic eruption also sulfur is releasing to the atmosphere. From these two sources, the sulfur is releasing in two forms as hydrogen sulfide and sulfur dioxide, and this hydrogen sulfide then oxidizes and form sulfur dioxide, and these sulfur dioxides that reach the atmosphere, then what happens, it mixes up with the water and comes again to the terrestrial system as acid rain. And from this, as it reached terrestrial system, it enters the plants, and from the plants, it reached to next level of consumer. From that consumers, through the process of excretion and their decomposition, it again returns to the main reservoir. This is the sulfur cycle. So it has an atmospheric gaseous phase is there here, and also sedimentary phases. Next is the human impact on sulfur cycle. What impact the various human activities causing on this sulfur cycle? First one, by increased combustion of fossil fuel, it increased the release of sulfur to the atmosphere. And second one is the because of the enormous release of sulfur to the atmosphere, it led to more frequent acid rain. As this acid rain become more frequent, it affects life in the earth. So we need to control to diminish the level of sulfur released to atmosphere. And the sulfur dioxide is a potent phototoxic, phototoxic pollutant. Phototoxic pollutant means what? It turn toxic when exposed to light. Such substances are called phototoxic. Phosphorus cycle. Phosphorus cycle. Where all phosphorus is found? It is present in DNA. In the backbone of DNA, we can see the phosphorus. And also in membranes, various membranes, phosphorus is present. We all learn about lipid bilayer membrane or plasma membrane very thoroughly. We know that. So in all those, we see the presence of phosphorus. And in bones and teeth also phosphorus is present. And what difference this phosphorus have when compared with the carbon and nitrogen cycle? Because when compared with the other cycles, it doesn't have a gaseous phase. This phosphorus cycle doesn't have a gaseous phase. It is completely a sedimentary cycle, this phosphorus cycle. And we can go and see the cycle. Here, from the rocks, because of weather, rain, the phosphorus reaches the soil. From the soil, it is taken up by plants, and from the plants, it reaches animals. And by their death and decomposition, it again reaches the soil. This is a cycle happening here. In aquatic system, the phosphorus reached in the aquatic system get deposits in the bottom, and because of erosion, gradually the trace amount of phosphorus reaches the streams, and this from the streams it finally ends up in ocean, and after reaching ocean it undergoes so many trips means from surface to bottom, and those trips may take thousands of years to complete. And during this trip time, certain amounts, some small trace amounts of this phosphorus are taken by organisms, many organisms in between these layers, and the remaining one settle down and locked up in the sediment in the bottom of ocean. And those amount locked up in the bottom sediment become available again only because of many geological activity that may lead to upliftment of the bottom of ocean floor. Only then it will become available. It means which one? Those phosphorus that locked up in the sediment, bottom sediment of ocean floor. So that's about the phosphorus cycle. Okay, then recycling pathways. We are going to see the recycling pathway. These pathways all are unidirectional. It's not bidirectional, and it has two dimensions. Which are the two dimensions? Two dimensions means it has a space-related dimension and also a time-related dimension. Space related means if we take the case of phosphorus cycle, is the area is not that much extent when compared with the sulfur cycle. Sulfur cycle, there's vast extension is there because the sulfur cycle has both sedimentary phase and gaseous phase. So its scope is more when compared with the phosphorus. So that's a space related dimension. And next dimension is the time related dimension, and the time related dimension, if we take the case of phosphorus cycle, in its different stages we see that it's the phosphorus is locked up in sediments. So whenever it is locked up in sediments, its recycling happens only very slowly. It needs millions of years to get completely recycled, and also that recycling will not occur complete. It's not perfect, and we have learned in the beginning of this chapter itself the sedimentary cycles are imperfect. So two dimensions are there: space related dimension and the time related. Then we are going to see which are the common pathways that we see in all these biogeochemical cycles. These pathways are decomposition pathway is there, excretion and respiration is there, recycling by solar energy is there, fossil fuel mediated recycling is there, volcanic activity is there. Decomposition pathway, in all decomposition pathway, the main mediators are microorganisms like bacteria and fungi. They are called reducers. Why they are called reducers? Because they reduce the complex organic substance into simpler one and make it available for producers. So, a decomposition pathway is a main mediator in the biogeochemical cycle. Then excretion and respiration. Now, that also way for the recycling of these elements, micronutrients. Like this excretion and respiration is important mainly in basing food chain type of system. In such system, excretion and respiration play very important leading role in recycling matters. Then in certain systems, certain situations, solar energy play important role in recycling matters. The main process that happen by way of solar energy are weathering, erosion, water cycle we know that. For all this, solar energy is very important. So solar energy mediated way also recycling is happening. Then fossil fuel mediated recycling. This fossil fuel mediated recycling is more frequent in anthropogenic mediated actions, that type of activities. In such activities, these materials, micronutrients or matter are recycling by the way of fossil fuel combustion. Then volcanic activity also releasing certain amount of sediment, sorry, a certain amount of elements that is locked up in sediments. These are the common pathway. And what is recycle index? Recycle index, what is recycle index? It is a ratio. Ratio of what? Ratio of material cycled between compartments. Compartments means hydrosphere is there, lithosphere is there, atmosphere is there. Different compartments. How much material is cycled between these compartments? That ratio, and it's amount to that of total through flow. Total through flow means what? What amount of matter is cycled throughout this entire compartment. I think you are confused. One time, one more time, I will explain. What is recycle index? It is a ratio. Ratio of what? Ratio of material cycled between the compartments. Compartments means what? I think it is clear to you. Compartments means hydrosphere, lithosphere, atmosphere. These are the compartments. How much matter is cycling? Its amount to that of total through flow. Total through flow means total amount of matter cycled throughout this compartment. Its ratio is recycle index. Ratio of material cycled between compartments. How much is moving from one compartment to another compartment? That amount to that of total. How much is totally cycled throughout this compartment? That ratio is recycled index. Total through flow can be positive or negative. When if the total through flow is negative, that means that most of the matter is lost. When the total through flow value is positive, means that not much is lost. Most of it is stored inside the system itself. That is negative and positive value indicate. Then what is recycled fraction? Recycled fraction, these are different compartments of the system. Then how much matter is cycled between this compartment? Suppose from starting this point, the amount of matter is 10 and it reduced to 8 on reaching B and 7 on reaching C. So it is the sum of amounts cycled through each compartment. That means sum of 10 plus 8 plus 7. The sum of amounts cycled through the compartment. That is recycled fraction. Okay, then recycling rate. What is recycling rate? Recycling rate is the sum of amounts cycled through each compartment. It is the sum of amounts of matter cycled through each compartment. അയ്യോല്ല. Recycling rate means it is the speed, how fast that cycling is happening. And this cycling rate is rapid in tropical forest and less rapid in cold lake and tundra. With this we finish today's section and this chapter.